Hey there, back on the banks of the Melaka River. I want to tell you a story about Melaka, how it came to be, and it was all because of this guy. That man there, named Paramaswara, and there he is, looking at one of his hunting dogs getting kicked into the river by that tiny little mouse deer while he's sitting under that tree. That tree he's sitting under was a Melaka tree, hence the name Melaka. So who is Paramaswara? Well, in the around 1400, he was a prince over on what is now known as, well, it's currently Indonesia. Didn't go by that name back then. So he fled Indonesia after an attack by the Majapahit. I think that's how you say it. Another Indonesian tribe. So he made his way over here and settled here and developed Melaka. Now Melaka became a very, very important trading port situated between India and China, where there was already a very successful trade happening. But Melaka's position here on the Malaccan Strait it was very important to international trade. The harbour was a good harbour for the boats to come, and they eventually developed it into a successful trading port. He was Paramaswara was helped by Admiral Zheng He of the Ming dynasty in China. He was an accomplished sailor, had many voyages through this area, and stopped here at Melaka and built a relationship with Paramaswara, a very successful relationship. He helped protect the city of Melaka from attacks by the Siamese, people of Siam, and as well as further attacks by the Majapahit people of Indonesia. And Melaka quickly became a very important strategic port here in the Straits of Melaka, and due to all the traffic coming through, it became a real melting pot of different cultures. There was Chinese, Indian, Malay, even Europeans would come through here, sail through here, and sometimes they would stay to live out their lives here in Melaka. In 1414, Paramaswara decided to convert to Islam. So he did that, and he became Iskandar Shah, if I remember correctly. And that, of course, meant that Melaka became a Muslim or Islamic sultanate. Because Melaka had a structured legal code and as well as a structured harbour system, it quickly became a very popular port for all foreign traders. They would all come here to trade their goods amongst themselves, sell their silks and spices, ceramics to other vessels, other captains, and Melaka became a very, very prosperous city. So another sultan came along. He was Mansur Shah, and he had a big role. He was responsible for expanding Malacca's influence across other parts of Malaysia and also Sumatra. So by all reports, he did a good job as well. But then, to spoil the party, along came the Portuguese. A ferry there, a fast ferry, called Indo-Mal Kingdom. I'm guessing, purely a guess, by its name, that it goes from Indonesia to Malacca. Indo-Mal. That's my guess. Anyway, nice looking building there. No idea what it is. I can't see a way to get over to that particular area other than walking way around, which I didn't want to do. It's very hot again. So along came Afonso de Albuquerque. He was born in Alhandra, just near Lisbon in Portugal, in 1453. A descendant of nobility. So he would have been I guess a prince or something along those lines. He was educated in military strategy and navigation, fought under King John II in, I believe, North Africa, and then he was made Viceroy, if that's how you say it. I'm good at reading books, I don't know how to pronounce the words, of Portuguese India, and that gave him powers to expand and secure Portuguese trade routes across the Indian Ocean. So in 1510, Alfonse captured and made Goa the capital of Portuguese India. He then expelled the Muslim sultans and encouraged the people to turn or change to Christianity. So after fortifying the city of Goa, which was the Portuguese way, they would build fortresses to make sure that anyone, who wanted to attack and invade would have a very difficult time. He set his sights on another strategic position, which was, of course, Melaka. So in 1511, that's where he set his sights. So after considerable veiled threats and diplomatic approaches to try and weasel his way into Melaka, well, they didn't work, so he used force. So in 1511, that's exactly what he did. He set up a siege of Melaka, and I think it lasted around 6 months until one night when, actually I'll get the date for you. In August 1511 is when he set off on his last and victorious assault on the city of Melaka, and after a battle that raged for a short time, but a very vicious battle, so I read, he gained control. He then tried to convert the Sultanate, or the Sultanate were gone. They vanished. They fled to first one town, but eventually ended up in Johor, further south of here. But the local elites, so the trading population, possibly the harbour masters, he tried to convert them to Christianity. He also encouraged the locals to intermarriage. So, yeah, not just Malay marriages or Islam to Islam, but to mix. I don't know how successful that was. I guess it was. After Melaka, Afonse de Albuquerque went on and secured the Gulf of Hormuz, a strategic point between Persia and the Indian Ocean, or the Gulf of India. He went on to build a series of forts and fortresses to dominate the trade throughout the Indian Ocean. And introduced, I believe it's called a Cartaz system. It was basically a tax so that he could control and tax all the trade that came through all of his ports, because he basically dominated the entire Indian Ocean. And how did he do it? Well, in a ship just like this one, the Flor De La Mar. And I believe this is the same ship, about to get run over, that he came to Melaka to conquer it in 1511. There's a bit of a story behind this ship. Big crow's nest up there. Now, I've read about crow's nests in all my books, but I never for one moment thought they were that big. You could possibly put, if the weight would hold it, you could put 15 or 20 people in that. Closed. The one time I'm prepared to spend I think it's 40 ringgit to get in, and it's closed. Opens at 2:45 in a little over an hour. I'll come back. I'll continue this story in a little over an hour. While we're waiting for the Flor De Mar to open up, I'll tell you a little bit about the fort. Now, this is a reconstructed version, which I've shown on another video, but here we are again, of the fort that Afonso de Albuquerque built in 1511. It was very big. It stretches a long way, and just to show you just in a second, so here's the different parts of the fort wall. There's the original Portuguese wall right there. Down here is the Dutch layer number 5, Dutch layer number 10, and Dutch layer number 15. But before we get to that, in 1563, the reason for Portuguese building forts, big ones like this, and there's another part of the fort a few hundred meters down that way. So yeah, it was a very big fort that they built, a fortress. The fort was attacked by the Achanese people. I think they're from, I won't even guess, I won't guess where they're from. But they attacked in 1563, unsuccessfully, due to, in part, by these very, very thick, solid walls of the fortress. Now I'll show you another part on the screen right now, and this part was originally the keep, I believe, and it was 5 stories high in its heyday, and this is all that remains. I'm going to say there's another cruise ship anchored off the mouth of the Melaka River, because I was going to film yesterday, but I was too lazy and there was hardly anyone here, and today it's full of people yet again. Not quite as busy as what it was the other day when I filmed up on top of the St. Paul's Church, which is behind those buildings there, but still very busy. So this is Flor De La Mar, which means flower of the sea in Portuguese. And this is the boat. Now I'm not sure if our good mate Alfonse sailed here on this ship, but this was the ship that he did decide to leave in. And this is a full-size replica, and it is massive, although very bulbous. To my eyes, and I'm no shipbuilder or sailor or captain or anything of that description, it looks like it would bob like a cork in the sea. It's quite round, on the sides there. It's not very long and has very blunt stern and bow. I got that right. But as I said, this is a life-size replica of that ship. Oh, it's okay. I'll take a picture. Thank you. And there you have it. Cannon there, and another cannon up the front, and another one there. So really, oh no, another one up there. Let's see. Let's see how many cannons it would have had. And I can guarantee you, it would not have had a door right there. So it looks to be only 3 cannons on each side. Yes, I think so. Now, I'm assuming Alfonse would have had his own quarters. Perhaps up there where those windows are. Unlike pirate ships, of course, pirate ships, the captain didn't have a special quarters of his own. He just had a hammock like everyone else. And pirate ships, little fun fact for you, didn't, oh maybe that was the captain's quarters there. Pirate ships had a very democratic way of dealing with things. There was two people in charge, the captain and the quartermaster, and the quartermaster could overrule the captain on all decisions except for those in battle. But anyway, this isn't a pirate ship, this is the Flor De La Mar, the ship chosen by our good friend Alfonse to travel over 11,000 miles. I think it's actually 13,000 miles or close to it. 21,000 kilometres from here in Melaka back to the port of Lisboa in Portugal. That is a long way. And this ship, even back then, was known to be not the greatest, not the best in regards to sailing capabilities, even whilst unloaded. But when it was loaded, it was known to be flawed, seriously flawed. Let's go and have a look. Hopefully we can get down below. Let's take off my shoes. So this is the interior of the ship, and I think there would have been decks in between. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have had such an open space in this ship. But when Alfonse decided to go back, he took with him gold, spices, and all the other silver and all the other things of value that he could fit on the ship. Yeah, can we get down further? It is a big ship once you get inside. But of course, that, as I was just saying, compromised the stability of the ship. And here's some of the sorts of treasure. Coins, Chinese coins. That he would have been transporting back as a gift to the there's some they're saying that ballast would have been put in here. Sometimes. Other times they would put prisoners in here. So he would take all the spoils of war back to, I think it's the king. That's not him. Of Portugal at the time. But it didn't work out that great for him. Now, none of these are going to be relics from the Flor De La Mar, because on its huge journey back to Portugal, he didn't get far at all. Some cannonballs, Portuguese guns, huge bore gun there, Portuguese sword. Can you see the pellets there? They're huge. Imagine one of those flying through you out of one of those guns. Not nice. So, filled with gold and silver, guarded by the sky. So none of these artifacts in here are from the Flor De La Mar, because on its return voyage back to Lisboa, it didn't make it very far. It got just up off the coast north of here off Sumatra. It was promptly hit by a storm and sank. Now, from my information, the only recorded person who survived that I know of was Alfonse himself, rescued by another ship in the area. All these models are very, very cool. Now that looks like a slightly better boat than the ship in the Flor De La Mar. It's a British battleship, that one. Wow. This one's a Dutch battleship. This looks more Portuguese. Yes, it is. The Baronel. And all these, that one looks very familiar. Cool models. Very cool models. Wow, check this one out. An outrigger Caracora model. And that's a Malaysia, a Lanchara. Coinage from the years 1400 to 1510. So Malay coins from the Malaka Sultanate. So this is a map of the world as it was known in 1597. And as you can see, well, the Americas are there. South America, Africa, Europe, England would be up here, I guess. And we are somewhere down here. That would be Thailand. There's China, Vietnam, Australia, an unknown continent back then, and New Guinea. So imagine having to sail using one of those maps. Well, Alfonse didn't even have a map like this. This was 1597 to 1612. So he departed here in 1511. So no, you wouldn't have had access to even that map. the Straits of Malacca, where this ship, that's it through there, under the bridge, if you can see. There's water out there, which you probably can't see. That's okay. That's where this ship came to its demise. And it was never found. It's still out there to this day. Word has it that it's probably covered by, or swallowed up by, coral reefs, or maybe the shifting sands of the Malacca Strait. But wherever it is, there are about 3 countries, at least 3 countries, who still lay claim to the treasure that was on board, and it's believed to be one of the greatest treasures that's ever gone missing, shipwrecked. That's not the word, but you get what I mean. In the world, I think those countries would be Malaysia, Indonesia, and Portugal. Because Indonesia, because it disappeared off the coast of Sumatra. Malaysia, because that's where all the treasure came from. And Portugal, because that's where it was going. Alright. There goes the, what do I call it? I can't remember what I called it. But there it goes. Back up again. Not many people on it. So that's it. That is my story of the Flor De La Mar, the Portuguese, can't remember what sort, galleon, that went missing in the Straits of Malacca in 1511. The year 1511. And I don't think I would have wanted to be bobbing around on the ocean in that particular ship, or any ship for that matter, in the year 1511 with 21,000 or 13,000 miles left to go. It would have been an amazing feat had they made it, but they didn't. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll get better at telling stories as I go along. I promise. Alright, see you in the next one. Bye bye.